Welcome back to Hastings Insurance McHale Park, where Mayo have beaten Louth by 14 points to 113. They led 7 points to 4 at the break, but they were outscored 1-6 to 7 points by Louth in the second half. 1-1 for Louth, coming deep in injury time through a McKeever goal and a Grimes point. But unfortunately for the Wee County, there was not enough time to create another chance or create another attack. Colin Boyle, formerly of Mayo, you were on duty for Off the Ball across the afternoon. Have Mayo got away with one, or did they deserve their win?
It's difficult to say, Oisin, because they did lead all the way through the game, and Louth made it very, very difficult for Mayo, there's no doubt about it. And there was a huge moment at the start of the second half where Leonard Gray had a massive goal opportunity. If that goes in, it could be a very, very different game. But I think on the basis that they led all the way through, it almost seemed like the hard work done. They went 5 up in injury time with Fionn McDonagh, like fists of ball over the bar. It looked like the hard work done. It was a case of seeing it out from there, but they didn't see it out at all very well. Conceded a goal chance straight away from Colin McKeever. Another point from right at the end from Conor Grimes. And luckily for Mayo, the referee blew the ball up from the next kick out, because if there was another play in that game, all the momentum was with Louth. They pushed everyone up the pitch. If they won it, there's a very good chance they might have got an equaliser, or at least an equaliser, or maybe won the game.
People who were listening to Off the Ball after the game might have heard Stephen Rochford speaking to me, and I put it to him that maybe the same energy and intensity and ability to get scores that was there against Kerry wasn't there today. Now, he said, well, they're different games and Louth would play it differently. They sit deep, they make it difficult. So they're happy to get the win. They know there's things they can improve on. What do you take from the game?
But I think Stephen's right, yeah, 2 very different games. Like the Kerry game, there's so much space in behind that Kerry defence when Mayo were on the attack, and for the likes of James Carr, Ryan O'Donoghue, Aidan O'Shea, it was really a dream for them. Today is very, very different. Louth had 14 bodies inside that 45, pretty much for every Mayo attack. I think the frustrating thing about Mayo, they go 3 up in the first 5 minutes, and it looks like, they're up and running. But really, when Louth got a chance then to reset and put everyone inside, I think Mayo only scored 4 points for the rest of the first half, 3 points from play from the start and 6 forwards. And there was never a stage where Mayo could attack that Louth defence, get their best shooters on the ball, like a Ryan O'Donoghue, Aidan O'Shea, James Carr, coming on the loop and just chipping away on the scoreboard. Everything always looked really, really difficult, really, really hard. And they got a couple of frees that just kept them nudging in front of Louth all the time. But there was nothing really comfortable about it. There was nothing really, not easy about it. But everything was tough today for Mayo.
Do you think that the top teams will look at this and say, well, obviously all we have to do is sit deep and then we'll go on the transition and create chances, and that's how we'll beat Mayo?
Yeah, but I think you do see teams doing that. I think if you look at the league final, for example, Galway conceded every kick out against Mayo and just retreated back to their 45 and said, come and attack us, you know what I mean? So look, Mayo, do they like playing against it? Probably not, but they have beaten plenty of teams that have played this system before. I think today was just, you put it down to one of those days that have been slightly off. Granted, Louth played really, really well, and it's important that you give them credit, for what they did. They came to frustrate Mayo, they came to sit in and keep tight and still be in the game with 5 or 10 minutes to go, which they were, and they nearly came and snuck it at the end. So look, if you were to tell Mickey Harp that before the game, obviously he wants to win it, but I think he'd be really, really happy with his performance overall, the performance of his team.
If Mayo get a draw or beat Cork in a couple of weeks' time, we don't know where the game will be yet, they will go straight through to the quarter-final. How important is that to skip over the preliminary quarterfinals? As much as players want games and maybe managers want games, there are times where you'd be glad of the break. I imagine that will be one of those times.
Oh, I think it's huge. I think it's hugely important, Oisin, for a couple of things really. Number one, obviously you have there's really, really jeopardy in going to that playoff, because if you lose, you're out of the championship. But number two, just the injuries that are teams, you can see some teams are starting to build up on now. You obviously look at Dublin last night and they pick up injuries to Conor Callan and to John Small, I think it was, in the last 10 minutes. And keeping your main players fit with the games that's coming is absolutely key. So if you get an opportunity to have a week off in between a playoff game and a quarter-final, it's huge. I think the game against Cork now for Mayo, it's a game they had to win anyway, let's be honest, Oisin. You have to go to quarter-final winning all your 3 group games, for me, just from a confidence point of view. But now they have to really go and attack Cork and have a go at them.
You've given Louth a bit of credit already. Yeah. Let's dive a bit deper into their performance. You can see what Mickey Hart is doing with them. You can see the evolution coming along. Maybe this year has come a little bit too soon in a championship sense, but they are going the right direction.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Mickey Hart last year played very defensive football for Louth, and this year a lot of their championship games have been very, very open, which is kind of surprising. And maybe that was Mickey trying to let his team evolve, not just be all about defensive football and keeping it tight and containment. See, can we attack teams and win games playing more attacking football? and they conceded 640 in the last 2 games, you know. So I think coming to Castlebar today, he just had to say, look, we need to really just settle things down here, really look to go and frustrate Mayo, and that's what they did. Is it something you could keep doing long term, or is that going to win you games when you're playing teams more at your own level? I don't think so. I think you'd see kind of more different tactics from Louth, but I think there's plenty there from Louth to see that they're improving, there's no doubt about it. If you look at the year they've had overall, finished 3rd Division 2, got to a Leinster final. Granted, it was a bad day out for them, but even coming to McKay Park today and putting in a performance like that against, you know, one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the country, they have to be happy with that.
Finally, you've had a roller coaster weekend. You were at Wembley yesterday for the cup final. You're a big United fan. Where are United at?
Oh God, yeah, it was nearly a very bad weekend. If Louth got a winner there in the last couple of minutes, it would have been a terrible weekend. Where are United at? They're a long way off City. I said to one of the boys this morning, it was a 2-1 hammer. You know what I mean? But what a day, what an occasion was at Wembley yesterday. It was super to be at. Yeah, fortunately didn't get a result, but probably maybe a bit like Louth this morning. I probably would have taken 2-1 yesterday morning. You know, so yeah, but brilliant day.
Okay, Colin Boyle, formerly of Mayo, thank you very much for joining us here at Hastings Insurance McHale Park. Mayo have beaten Louth by 14 points to 113. Up next, they take on Cork, and if they win that or get the draw, they're straight through to the quarter-finals. The rest of the ramifications are kind of complicated, so I think we'll leave that for now and let Colin go off and enjoy the sun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, more on this and everything else available on the Off the Ball social media channels.